Hi guys, it's ISAA here. Thanks for coming onto my YouTube channel. Please do like, subscribe, and leave comments so we can improve what we bring to you. This is about bringing out all the extraordinary things in our ordinary day lives. Good afternoon, guys. Hope you're all good. I'm back again, and I seem to be coming back with more and more fantastic topics to talk about. I've got a brilliant entrepreneur with me because our topic is why businesses fail, and is one of his passions. He's going to be spending some time explaining to us, the booby traps, what to look out for, and actually what makes you successful in an enterprise, on a project, in any of the things that you set your mind at. But it's coming at it with an entrepreneurial background. So just a quick intro, and I'll get Mr. Babajide to do a bit more introduction into himself. He's a lawyer who's turned into a real estate developer over the last 20 years, and he's actually been one of the innovating forces in real estate development in Nigeria. As I said in our conversation, he's been through the cyclical economic challenges that you get, where sometimes it's fantastic, sometimes it's really low, and this is about how you can keep it going, how you can keep it, you can keep yourself on an even keel and actually maybe kill the market, which is what Mr. Odusolu has done over the last 20 years. So one of the things, and we'll get into this, is that Mr. Odusolu really, really believes in Nigeria, and we are going to get to that point because obviously we know it's a very challenging environment, but you've got to get going, and he's one of those ones with the die-hard spirit of you can make things happen when you're so determined to do it. So welcome, Mr. Odusolu.
Thanks.
You're welcome, and I just want you to give me a little bit more of a background. I know you're not very comfortable with talking about yourself. So I would like you to tell us a little bit more, make my background information a little bit more interesting. But I'm happy for you to talk about your pet enterprise, which is Octo5. So take it away, please.
All right. Well, good afternoon. It's good to be with you here. It's Jide, like you said. Everybody calls me Jide Odusolu. I'm a lawyer. I actually sometimes wonder if I'm really a lawyer because I was called to bar, to 1995.
Yeah.
But I barely practiced law for more than 2 years. Then I detoured into the corporate world, working in a multinational oil and gas company as a contract coordinator, contract negotiator for a 5-year period. Yeah. And then I basically decided to start scratching the itch, which is to be an entrepreneur. I've always been inclined towards entrepreneurship. And so in 2000, I delved into the world of development.
Yeah.
Basically found a need that wasn't being met with lower barriers to entry and got involved.
Yeah.
Happily married, got 2 kids who are doing quite well in their own way. Like you rightly said, I don't know how to talk about myself.
You're doing extremely well, and this just helps. So you're not just a business person. You're a 4D figure. I like to put it that way. Yeah. So it's fantastic.
Married, 2 kids. I have other interests. One of my biggest interests basically is a lot of my interest revolves around business, not making money, business.
Yes.
Big difference.
Okay.
So I enjoy incubating businesses. I enjoy mentoring people.
Yep.
I enjoy teaching people how to excel. Once in a blue moon, I get to play golf.
All right.
I love golfing.
Okay.
I suck at it because my mind is elsewhere half of the time, but I love golf. Before COVID, I loved traveling. I'm a bit of a trail junkie. So for me, travel is not fun if you're not jumping out of a plane or going on into the ocean somewhere and just going to do something really crazy and
adventurous. Is that
I'm quite adventurous.
Yeah.
I'm quite adventurous, and that's how I lay my hair down.
Yeah.
You know, I'm an avid dog keeper. I love dogs. I love
Right.
animals generally,
Yeah.
but I'm more a dog guy. I'm not a
Okay.
cat guy. I'm a dog guy. So
Okay.
that's me.
Really interesting.
I
Really
love
interesting.
music. I have very crazy wide taste in music. I love
Okay.
everything from jazz all the way through to hip hop.
Oh wow, wow! No, that is really good. And I mean, you sound like a really interesting character. Well, I think I know you are an interesting character, actually. Let's let's put it that way. So
Okay.
that's a really brilliant introduction. Thank you very much for that. And actually, one of the things is, even though our topic is about business, about talking about
Yeah.
difficult aspect of business, which is why it fails. One of the things you've been doing in this lockdown, because you've had a bit of time on your hands, is you put pen to paper and you started writing about your experiences, and you've termed that as the musings of a serial developer, and you've
Yeah.
released the first chapter. And the first
Mhm.
chapter it's more like a combination of the experiences you've had over the years, as an entrepreneur, as a business person. And so we thought that would be an interesting, and you had about 8 to 9 points in the first chapter
Yes.
that you made
Hmm.
as a reference for to talk about. And
Hmm.
as I said to you, I went through that, and it's really very interesting. So it's actually really making me anticipate the follow-on chapters. So I can't really wait. And
Okay.
if someone like me that's not so business driven can't wait, I'm sure your typical audience that like to talk about business, about coaching, about
Hmm.
mentoring people out there can't wait. So we can't wait for that. So we're going to talk about that. Yeah, well, I'm going to get you to talk about those lessons in brief, and I'll ask some questions around it just to
Yeah.
clarify, for people. So we'll get started on that. So you said to me, what keeps you awake is why businesses fail. So just take us through the
Yes.
typical things that happens.
So, like I said, I love entrepreneurship and I love enterprise. And one of the things that actually frustrates me is a realization that in Nigeria, especially Africa at large, you do not find long term enterprise flourishing. Matter of fact, in this part of the world, typically most people would start a business and most businesses will be dead within the first year. Those that are not dead within the first year would make it through to the third year and then they die. Very few businesses tend to be 10-year, 15-year, 20-year successes. As a
Wow.
matter of fact, in my sector, real estate, we're probably one of maybe 5 to 10 developers that have been consistently in business for 20 years.
Oh wow.
Most others have moved on to other businesses, moved on to other sectors.
Yeah.
And you tend to wonder why that happens. I mean, it's not like that. Entrepreneurship is very risky. There's a high failure rate all over the world.
Yes.
But it is especially so. The mortality rate for business enterprise in Nigeria, in Africa at large, is even higher than what you find in the West. And so for me, part of what has always agitated me is why does that happen?
Yes.
Why do we find very few businesses that translate generations? So ordinarily, it is bad enough generally for businesses to translate. It is worse over here. So I've been thinking about it for quite a while. And one of the
Yeah.
things I'd always said to myself is that the lessons no one could teach me when I was starting, I want to be able to teach other people now that I am mature as a
Yes.
businessman.
Yes.
Because if you could learn where the traps are
Yeah.
and learn where the challenges are, you are able to better navigate.
Yeah.
Interestingly, growing up, our parents used to tell us that there is nothing new.
Yeah.
That there's a Yoruba proverb that what a child cannot see when he's standing on the ladder,
Yeah.
an elder will see it lying on the bed. And
Yeah.
when I was
It's called
younger,
experience.
I used to snigger at it. I used to laugh at it. I used
Yeah.
to laugh and be like, what do these old people know? What do they think they are? They just don't get it. I've
Yeah.
got a unique idea. I've got a unique solution. And
Yeah.
you go away thinking that you're a superstar
Yeah.
until the first crisis hits you. Then the second crisis hits you. By the third crisis, you begin to wonder, gosh, what am I doing wrong?
Yes.
And then you've got that elder person there just smiling and saying, I told you what you did not foresee. I already saw it happening.
Yeah.
Interesting, you will find that the people who start out businesses, and it is when they are literally seemingly at the peak,
Yes.
that they simply just implode and they collapse. And you're like, shoot, how did that happen?
Yeah.
And if you get an older person will be like, I told him when he was starting this business, I told him to use color green. He told me that red is the color to use.
Yeah.
And even when you say to you, but I know how people react. People don't like red.
Yeah.
Red brings danger. And then you start wondering, red, what has red got to do with what you're talking about?
Yes.
It's as simple as that. It's about understanding the things that are essential to the people that you're going to be dealing with.
Yeah. Yeah.
And most people don't know these things. So there were questions that kept on bugging my mind. And what COVID-19 caused was that for a 3-week period, we're all locked indoors.
Yes.
You're not going anywhere.
Yep.
You couldn't even go beyond bedroom, living room.
Exactly.
So I had time on my hands, and I started putting thoughts to paper.
Yes.
I started asking myself questions and putting thoughts to paper, and that's what led to the first chapter of and the reason why it's called New Sense is because I'm not pretending to be a storyteller.
Yeah. Yeah.
Neither am I a professor. I'm simply another guy down there who's had some experiences, and I just want to share them. And that's what led to the book. And like you rightly said, the first chapter had 8 lessons in it.
Yes.
Some of them are somewhat controversial. Some are simple.
Yes.
But when you put it all together, the foundation that you find that most businesses, whether in Nigeria, in America, in Bangladesh, in China, those are the same basic traits that every business would have.
Yes. And it applies to different industries as well. It's not just about real estate development. It's almost the fundamentals of getting a project started, getting an enterprise started.
Correct. I mean, when I started out, it's called Business of a Serial Developer, and I'm using real estate, which is my business, as a fundamental, as a foundation. But the truth is that it applies across board. Let me give a very simple one. Yeah. What I always tell people: the foundation, the very first meeting. Some people are partners, some don't. Yeah. But the very first day you conceive of your idea, where you conceived it, how you conceived it, it forms the very foundation that's going to determine the future of your business. Give you a classic example. FedEx. Yes. The company called FedEx today. It started on a napkin. The man had lunch with a friend, and they sat down and drew the business plan of FedEx on a napkin. Yeah. Netflix started, Aston and his partner were selling their existing company. They were ruminating on what kind of business would they do next. Well, if you go read a book about the making of Netflix, it's interesting. These guys they kept on traveling. I was kind of like going from London to maybe Kent every day. Yeah. So, and during their drive, they were bouncing off business ideas off of each other. Yes. That was the making of Netflix. Yeah. And the making of Netflix, they came up with a cross of the idea, and they distilled it to a very simple formula. Yes. And that's what they've stood true to until today. Yeah. We're using Zoom right now. Yes. If you read the story, I read the story of Zoom recently, and it made me understand why it works so seamlessly. Yes. The guy is a Chinese immigrant who it took him 6 tries before they gave him an H-1B visa to go to the US. Yeah. He's a code writer. He gets to the US. He can't speak English. When they're in meetings, people used to laugh at him. So the only way he could excel was to be a fantastic code builder. That's what gave him relevance. Yes. Which is one of the lessons in the book. Having a skill. So that's what gave him a code relevance. And that relevance is what he used to distill. And they created an initial tool called WebEx. Yes, WebEx. WebEx was a video that most corporates use. Yes. Now, WebEx was bought by Cisco. Yeah. When Cisco bought WebEx, Cisco sells routers. Yes. Cisco was basically using it as a means to get to the customers of WebEx. The guy kept on working for Cisco, kept on trying to improve WebEx, but nobody wanted to pay attention to it. Nobody was interested in WebEx as a standalone solution. So one day he got tired and he left and started Zoom. Yeah. And he said to himself, all the things that weren't working at WebEx, I'm going to fix them. It's going to fix. Yes. Yeah. And that's what led to. Yeah, luck has been on, fortune has been on his side as well, because COVID then happens, right? Now every single person is using Zoom.
So
Now, but guess what,
yeah,
Princess? What I tell people is that what we call luck is
yeah,
actually preparation meeting opportunity.
very true, very true.
So most people that we call lucky, it's not that they're lucky, it's that they've been preparing, they've been building themselves up, and then they get to a curve in the road,
Yeah.
and they see their chance, and they seize it.
And they take
Give
it.
you another example.
Yes.
Apple.
Yeah.
Apple created the iPod.
Yeah.
And created the iPhone. But
Yeah.
do you know that he stole the idea from Kodak?
Yeah, I've heard. Yes.
It went on the top when it was still running. Yeah,
Yeah.
It was still running Apple as a computer, trying to compete with Microsoft. They went on the tour of Kodak labs, and they ran into this device that could actually take pictures.
Yeah.
And he looked at it, and then he went back to his office and told his guys, guess what, why can't we build a device that can play music, killed Walkman, that can do photography? And from there, they created an entire industry called the smartphone.
Yeah.
Now, that's how every one of us is. It's simply when you're prepared, the foundation that you set for yourself determines the kind of structure you get to build on it.
Yes, yes.
And determines where you go. So if you cannot identify that unique advantage for yourself, you can't build a business. Now, the problem, like we were saying before we started, one of the problems that most people that claim to be business people have is that business is just a means to an end for them.
Yes. Now,
they're not business people essentially. They're basically people just looking to make money.
So is there a difference in, would you call them trade, is there a difference between being an entrepreneur and being a trader then, effectively?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Now, one of the things I tell people that people don't like me saying, a lot of people dislike it when I say it. People take offense. Many people are traders, but masquerade as business owners.
Yeah.
A lot of people are merchandisers.
Yeah.
So you're a trader, you're a merchant. You see, anybody whose business is actually based on arbitrage.
Yes.
Arbitrage is where you're just making a margin. Once your business is based on arbitrage or making a margin, you're a trader. It doesn't matter whether you're selling stocks or you're selling earrings or you're selling shoes or you're selling food. If all you're doing is taking someone's product, linking it to a customer somewhere and making a margin, you're a trader.
Yes, yeah.
And the thing with being a trader is at the end of the day, it's all about volume. That's why our brothers and sisters in the East are better at it. Yeah. They're good merchandisers. So trade is all about volume. And the more a trade becomes popular, the more people rush in there. As people rush in there, your margins shrink.
Yeah.
So let's say, for example, you have a unique location where you can get fantastic eye pencils.
Yes.
But you're not the one making the eye pencil.
Yeah.
You don't own the proprietary rights to the eye pencil.
You don't, yes.
So
yeah.
All I have to do is shadow you one day. I get to the same source.
Yeah.
And I'll tell the person making the eye pencil, she's paying you 10p per pencel. Yeah, I'll pay you 20p.
Exactly. You've shifted the business. Yeah. Exactly.
And that's what most people do. People basically trade. Whereas when you say you're building a business, it means you have an underlying product or service.
Yes.
Which is unique to you.
Yeah.
That people are willing to pay value for. So the way I tell people is that for you to build a viable business, you must be able to get people to open their wallets and give you a share.
Yes.
Not because they like you, not because they find you pleasant.
Yeah.
Not because of anything else other than the fact that you are addressing a peculiar need that they have.
Yes, a need in them. Yes.
And guess what? The best businesses
are
when you're addressing the need, the person didn't even realize he needed before you found out he needed it.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you get what I mean?
Yes.
So if you're able to create a product or a service that meets a need that people might not even realize they need until you start making it available.
Yeah.
Boom, you own the market.
You've already got the market. But you now have to keep innovating, I would say, to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So if you're gonna be, we're talking about why businesses fail.
Yeah.
And you notice that we already said a lot already.
There's a lot. There's a lot in there. Let's bring it back to the key points that you raised as a starting point in terms of what people really need to look out for. So if we stick to that first and then see how it goes. But it's such a versatile area that it's really incredible. And I think it takes unique people, to be fair, irrespective of people maybe getting annoyed with you or getting upset when you say there's a difference between the two. It takes a unique individual to actually see an opportunity and then go for it. So I guess, some of the things is it's just the way it is. So yeah, let's give us the rundown of your 8 points and then let's see how that goes.
Okay, yeah. So I already said, we spoke about the foundation.
Yeah.
You've got to build the way you build your foundation. Now, foundation includes what your product is, who you're partnering with. And we're still going to come back to partnership.
Yes.
Your people, your people strategy. Your foundation includes your people strategy. It includes the what and the why.
Yes.
What are you selling? Why are you selling it?
Yeah.
If I call it the 4 W's: the what, the why, the where, and the who. What are you selling?
Yeah.
Why are you selling it? Where are you going to sell it?
Where are you going to sell it?
Who is going to buy it?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if your foundation does not provide you answers to these 4 things, you're already off to a bad start. That's the first thing. The second thing, of course, is that you then have to identify, when you know the what, the where, the why, and the who, then you're going to then identify what's going to make you different.
Yeah. Yeah.
So 2 different people, take a Samsung, take an Android device and an iOS device.
Yes.
There are unique differences to the 2.
Very.
And then both execute relentlessly. Look, I've got an iPhone here.
Yeah.
I've got a Samsung here.
Oh, wow, you're good at
So I'm a technophile. I love tech.
Yes.
But what I tell people is, if I want something that is seamless and plays music and does all my filing easily, it's the iPhone.
Yeah.
If I want to take the best pictures, I don't care what anybody says. The S20 has the best camera. Period.
Yeah. Samsung tends to. We won't get into Samsung or iPhone, but the point I was going to make out of this is the reason why you're like slightly different is, you've got, we talked about it, have a unique selling point, but you also have your market. And someone like me, whilst you seem to be able to go in between 2 worlds where you're looking at what meets my needs, I'm thinking I'm going to stay with one. So I'm an iOS person.
Yes.
And irrespective of what they do to me, I keep going back every time to do.
But guess what? Again, and that goes back to the who. So I'm an iOS person. And for a long time, especially while Steve Jobs was alive, I didn't bother with other phones. I've tried other phones and I used to dump them. You know why? Because one thing Steve Jobs perfected, which is part of the foundational reasons why businesses fail, was relentless innovation.
Yeah.
People tell you if it's not broken, don't break it. But Steve Jobs' theory is, if it's been around for a while, break it.
Yep.
Because if you don't break it, somebody else is going to break it.
Exactly.
And that's the mind, and that takes the next thing of being a visionary. That's the mind of a visionary. A visionary keeps looking for how to disrupt himself.
That's true.
A visionary is a disruptor.
Yes.
So for a business to thrive, you've got to be disruptive.
Yes.
You've got to be looking at how to break the mold, reshape it, break the mold, reshape. Because when you get comfortable, and you think you've arrived, there's some guy somewhere who is studying you and looking for how to break your legs.
Exactly. So in every way, and I guess that's what puts them. You've got to be at the top of your game because somebody's understudying you. And you can't let the understudy become your boss effectively. So you've got to
keep running.
Yes.
In business, if you don't keep running, if you ever stay still, somebody's going to catch you. Look at Dyson. Look at Dyson and the guy with the vacuums in the UK. Dyson came up with a unique solution for vacuum cleaners.
Yeah.
The only reason why he's still in business today is because it keeps relentlessly innovating.
Yes.
It keeps disrupting his own businesses.
Yeah.
Because if he ever stood still, some other guy is going to take apart his idea and he's going to reshape it and he's going to get better at it.
Yes.
And that's the thing.
Yeah. Just to interject there, because your lesson 3 actually was the one that struck me the most. That I found, I wouldn't use the word. It just struck me as, that is the key thing about why you shouldn't let whatever it is that you're selling fail and actually would propel you, you've got to be a visionary. And apart from being a visionary, you have to have a certain skill set that's just unique to you.
Yes.
And I guess that's what rounds up that visionary side of it, because unless you have something that's unique, everything you've said in the last 10 minutes is what happens. Somebody else is just going to come and overrun the market, you know.
You know, I mean, it's called creating a barrier to entry.
Yes.
So as an innovator, as an entrepreneur, you've got to look at your business every time and increase the pain. I call it the pain threshold.
Right.
Increase the pain threshold for whoever's going to compete with you. Yes. So I'll give you a classic example. Somebody who does it very well in Nigeria.
Yeah.
He started as a trader and now he's an entrepreneur and a manufacturer, Dangote.
Okay. Yeah.
If you make the mistake of competing with Dangote, it will inflict so much pain on your business that you will leave the business.
Oh dear. Okay.
Yeah, because that's the way you raise the barriers to entry. You raise the pain threshold for your competition so that they've got to think twice before they can compete with you. Look at Coca-Cola and Pepsi Cola.
Pepsi, yes.
Seriously, what's the difference between the two apart from the gas content?
I really don't know. Actually, maybe there's a different one. I drink both.
You know, because you think about it and you just realize that all Coca-Cola has done is master marketing.
Yeah.
So they've got such a high share. I call it mind share. They've got such a high percentage of mind share that you convince yourself that there's a difference.
Yeah, yeah. That's
so what did Pepsi Cola have to do? Pepsi Cola realized it could never win the Coca-Cola war, so it went to win the business war.
Yes.
You'll be shocked to find out that PepsiCo is a bigger company than Coca-Cola is.
Really?
But PepsiCo, it is. It is bigger.
Okay.
It is bigger than Coca-Cola. But when it comes to the Coca-Cola itself, it gets beaten every single time. Think about it. What business is McDonald's in?
Food business?
No, they're not. They're in the real estate business.
Really?
McDonald's perfected the art of getting the best locations.
Ah, right.
So
this is really interesting. Right.
So what is fantastic about a McDonald's burger? Nothing.
Nothing. Because
I don't know about you. I don't like.
No, because KFC and Burger King is better.
But tastes better. Who do you see more?
McDonald's. Right. Now I get it.
What they've done.
Now I get it.
You've got to acquire a unique skill that makes you stand out against your competition.
Yes. Yes.
And that skill is going to make the difference between life and death as a business.
This is actually really fantastic because I never thought about the especially the McDonald's and the KFC / Burger King one, because obviously Burger King is so superior in taste to McDonald's.
Yes.
But then every time you think I need fast food, McDonald's is what comes to your mind.
Yeah.
And it's just because of accessibility. It's because of location. Yeah. So it's actually real estate. It's not food. Right. Fantastic, guys. You can see how things work around here. This is really brilliant. We're learning every single minute.
So when you understand that, that as a business person, and then you identify that unique skill and you own it.
Yes.
You sharpen it, you execute it brilliantly, you give yourself a good edge. Then that takes me to the most controversial lesson I always tell people.
Yes.
It's 2 in 1.
Yeah.
It's never about capital.
Yeah.
Cash. It's about cash flow.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
There's a world of difference between having cash and having cash flow. When you talk to investors, what they're interested in is what's your velocity. They call it velocity. How fast do you generate cash?
Yes.
What investors are interested in is how fast do you generate cash? What's your turnover?
Yes.
Now, when they ask you what's your turnover, then they ask you what's your earnings what's your cost to earnings ratio?
Yeah,
so how much does it cost you to produce?
Yeah.
And how much do you make as a margin?
Mm-hmm.
The higher your margin and the higher your turnover, the more attractive your business is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, that's why being a trader is not a good idea, because the key thing about being a trader is that you are commoditized.
Yes. Okay.
So if you're a trader, your cost will be tight,
Yep.
but your earnings margin will be low to attract sales.
So, yes.
But when you're an innovator and a producer, you actually command a price premium.
Yes. Yes. It's actually well, you've said it's a premium, and actually that's defined by whoever it is that's buying into that premium.
Exactly. I'll give you another example.
Yes.
An example you can easily relate to in the UK, Primark.
Yes.
Why do people go to Primark? Primark is what you call wear and throw away.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know if people understand that. You know.
No,
but,
I mean, let me put it this way. I'll tell you a funny story about Primark. So, I mean, whenever I travel, my wife would send me to buy stuff.
Yeah.
And one time she said to me that, "Oh, please, can you help me stop by Primark?" And I said, "What's that?" And that's the first time I heard about Primark. And I got to this store and I saw huge numbers of people.
The queues are crazy.
And I was wondering, what are they all doing here? Then I started looking at the materials. Now, incidentally, I was coming from the typical stores I would buy stuff from.
Yeah.
And for every £1 that I spent in my preferred store, I would get 10 times the items.
I think it's more like 20, but that's okay.
You know, now here is the punchline.
Yeah.
Typical Niger sense now.
Yeah.
I decided to buy some stuff from Primark.
Yeah.
And then I got home and I gave the Primark materials the same treatment I give my normal materials.
Yeah.
And within 1 week, I couldn't use them anymore.
Yeah.
Because they were not built to last. They were built to attract me on price.
Yeah.
And make me keep coming back for more.
Simple.
So you've got to know who you're targeting.
Yeah,
and it's all about turnover. So Primark figured out that they've got to generate high turnover.
Yes.
And high volumes to make money.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to Zara or you go to Gucci or any of the other high-end guys, they probably realize that they're not going to generate high turnover.
Yeah.
But they've got to command high premium to generate the value they need.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's what made me say that another thing you don't focus on business is cash.
Yes.
It's not about your access to cash. It's your access to cash flow.
To cash flow, yes. Because really, cash flow is the lifeblood of any business, really. Because you know, you've got to. There's just got to be seamless cash flow. Otherwise, actually, it's not going to work.
Cash flow is the lifeblood.
Yeah, in this COVID era. So at least that much I know. I could see all the businesses that were already really under a lot of pressure with their cash flow. It took less than 2 weeks for them to just.
And they all died.
Yeah.
Because again, what does that tell you? They all depended on turnover to keep staying alive.
Yes.
And the minute there was nobody coming through the gates and through the doors, they started dying.
Yeah, the effect was immediate. It was, in fact, it's brutal. Yeah.
And that's the magic of a business. So the next thing that you then realize is that in business, it's about OPM.
Yeah.
OPM means other people's money.
Right. Okay.
If you cannot attract OPM, then you need to go and rethink your business model.
Right.
Yeah. Now, something I did say in the book, and that's why I said it's a bit controversial, is that if you're dependent on credit,
right,
and this is something that is very common in the West, if you're dependent on credit to run your business, then you're not a business owner, you're a business manager.
Well, yeah, you've said it. So I find lesson 7 very, very controversial, and I said it before, and I would really like to explore that a lot more. So OPM, other people's money, we talked about. That's effectively lesson 6, right?
Yes.
You've got to have, is that lesson 6? Where you've got to have, the capital. You've got to have your human network, proprietary. You listed it all there, and then you then come to 7. So effectively, you have to be doing 6 well, and 7. You've made an emphasis that if you're still very dependent on credit lines, then you're not. You're a business owner. You're a highly paid PM. I found that really, I'll use the word controversial. I wouldn't use the word offensive, but I want you to explain it to me.
So let me explain to you this way.
Yes.
We just gave an example of our businesses that are dependent on turnover.
Yes.
Once the customers stop coming through the gates, they started collapsing. Why? Because they had a credit line. That credit line requires you to continue to service it.
Yeah.
The minute you can't service the credit line, you're dead.
Yeah.
So who's your boss? The guy providing you the credit is your boss.
Mm.
But when you have a source of capital that is inherently valuable in itself, whether it's your unique product, whether it's your network, whether it's your human capital skill, or some rich daddy somewhere or mommy somewhere who's bankrolling you interest-free, if you do not have a source of capital that is not tied to interest payments, you're not free. You're not in control.
Yes.
So to run a business successfully, especially if you're going to run a business in a volatile environment like Nigeria, for example, if you're going to run a business in a volatile environment, if you do not control your capital, then you do not control your business.
Mm.
So I'll give you another example. Let's use the example that we can all relate to. Steve Jobs.
Mm-hmm.
When Steve Jobs, the first coming of Steve Jobs in Apple, he got sacked. Because the investors controlled the levers of capital for his business. And when they felt he wasn't leading it in the right direction and they were commoditizing the business and he was protesting, they sacked him. And he went off into the wilderness, had to do Next, do Pixar. Most people don't know that Steve Jobs started a bankroll Pixar. He had to do Pixar and a number of other businesses. When he came back to Apple, something profound that he did, he refused to take a salary. Most people didn't realize that Steve Jobs did not take a salary when he came back to Apple. He took stock options. And he said, I'm going to make you guys rich. For as long as I'm making you rich, you will pay me through stocks. Don't give me cash. And until Steve Jobs died, it became the most valuable asset of Apple.
Right. Okay. From that example, right, I can now relate a little bit to lesson 7. I think the reason I found lesson 7 difficult in my own case is because obviously I live in the UK, and I know without a doubt that I could practically actually say 90% of businesses depend on credit lines, from corporates, your banks, stock market, etc. So that's why I found it really difficult, because you have some really high rollers, high players, and a good example is still, BA. Even, I mean, it's an line. It's not a particularly good example in this current situation. But when COVID happened, they went off to the banks to ask for money, and I mean they've got a 9 billion credit line, but the banks still said no. But it took the government to bring them back, So I guess that relates to what you're saying. But what I'm trying to say is, at some point, you have to use credit lines. You have to use credit facilities. It doesn't mean that you're boxed.
No. Let's be clear. So, for as long as the banker needs you more than you need them, you are in charge.
Okay.
But when you need them more than they need you, they are in charge.
Right.
So, to put in perspective for you, so like I said, I'm bullish about Nigeria. I'm always going to come back to Nigeria. One of the things people don't understand about Nigeria is that Nigeria's economy is 65% driven by the informal sector. It is not dependent on government earnings. It's not dependent on taxes. It's not dependent on oil. Oil is 10% of our GDP. That's all it is. Instead, Nigeria's economy is dependent on the people's creative capacity. So that's why you find that most businesses, when they get to Nigeria, they literally adopt a don't let the world know mentality. Because you make such a high premium. There's high risk because you have to do everything yourself. But there's huge upside when you get it right. But the truth is, most of us hear about the 90 that gets it wrong. We write stories and fairy tales about the 5 that blow up successfully. And the remaining 5 that are doing very well, they just do it very quietly. But if you take that same indices and apply it in the West, it's almost the same high failure rate. It's just that it is less disastrous when they fail over there. Because over there, like you rightly said, you can get a credit line, I'm a developer.
Yes.
If I were to come to the UK and say I wanted to do a new development, say in Devonshire.
Yes, yes.
Okay. And I go to an area that is seen as underdeveloped.
Yes.
And I file my plans with the council.
Yeah.
I probably will get all sorts of concessions. I'll get all sorts of deferrals. I'll get sort of concessionary loans to support that business.
Exactly, very true. Because they want you to grow, they want you to develop, they want you
to Nigeria now. Come to Nigeria and try that same business. Even if you like, go and be doing it in the Petumodu or in Zungeru.
Yeah.
Nobody sends you. You're your own.
Right. Okay. So I can see why. Okay. I think I understand. I do understand where you're coming from with lesson 7. So it's also very peculiar to the environment in which you domicile, I will say. Mm-hmm. Although it's general, it's a general principle across the board. Try and make sure you're not dependent on.
It's a general principle. Yes, you can. Okay, so let me rephrase it this way. So it's a general principle. Do not be dependent on credit.
Yes. Yes.
But it is more important when you operate in environments with little institutional support.
Thank you. Yes. Accept.
So when you're in an environment with very little institutional support, don't even take that risk at all.
Yes.
Don't bother.
Yes.
When you operate in an environment like the West, where there are institutional support, leverage the credit, but don't depend on it.
Yes. Okay. Good.
So like now, because of COVID, credit is going to be cheaper for you guys.
Oh yes, it is. I think we're possibly going into negative interest.
You're going to have negative interest. So grab all of it as you can.
Yes.
Invest it wisely.
Guys, are you listening? Guys, are you listening? I've been trying to say this to people for the last couple of weeks.
No, it's the truth.
This is the right time to invest.
But you know the thing is, it's not an African mindset. It's because of where we're coming from.
Yeah.
We don't think that way. But in the West, grab as much of it as you can, put it to work, put it to use.
Yeah, exactly.
Invest wisely.
Yes.
You know, we don't have that luxury over here.
Yeah.
So that's a big difference.
Fantastic. Thank you. I mean, lesson 7 feels like it was the one to go. It was a cookie that we had to explore, and I'm glad we did. Because, yes, it does make sense. But as with everything that you've caveated, you have to look at your situation. You have to look at where you're coming from, where you're going, and you have to apply common sense. And this is all the things you've picked up. So yes. And what about lesson 8? Lesson 8 is interesting.
Don't take it personal. Let's start from this premise, okay? So business, you're gonna have I can't say it often enough. The failure rate is high.
Yeah.
You are gonna have some failures.
Yeah.
But guess what? The reason why you're an entrepreneur is because nobody else gets what you're trying to do.
Yeah, true.
So if you're doing any business and you find that out of every 10 people you discuss it with, 9 are like, oh, that's a fantastic idea. Don't bother. You're not going to do anything fantastic because it's already a commodity area.
Yes.
But if you're doing a business, people are like, are you sure about that? Are you sure it's going to work? Have you thought it through?
Yes.
It's important to you that you're onto something that's unique.
Yes.
So one thing I tell people is that do not take it personal. Listen, there's no development I have done to date that people didn't call me crazy. No.
You have to have a little bit of craze, to be able to do some of the things
you have to.
Or people that are taking high risk.
You've got to have an eye. In fact, the way I describe it to people is that, so my philosophy about business is you've got to be a pessimistic optimist.
Mm. Yeah.
So you're an optimist in that you believe that this is going to work.
Yes.
But be a pessimist. Think of all the things that can go wrong and try to secure against them.
Right. So can I just put it to you nicely, right? So even though you're an optimist, you're a visionary, but you're a visionary that spends a lot of time doing analytics and research. That's the only reason.
Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. No, see, you cannot thrive as an entrepreneur if you're wearing rose-colored glasses.
That's it.
I refer to that most of us tend to believe our own fairy tales and believe our dreams.
Yes.
And we drink our own Kool-Aid and believe that nothing can go wrong.
Yeah.
But a true business developer plans for everything to go wrong. And when you plan for everything to go wrong, you begin to come up with simulations and solutions that says, okay, if this happens, this is what I will do. If that happens, that's what I will do. Let me give you a classic example that most people don't know. The guy who started Canary Wharf, he went bankrupt. The original developer. He wasn't the one that finished it. And that's what happens. That's the risk of business. Most times, the person that starts it might not even the person that will finish it. Because, but you've got to get it started. You've got to get your ideas right. You've got to get your strategy right. And then you can then build on top of it.
Yes. And that really makes sense. And I think actually, you know, it's fantastic. You've said it. You've been through all the lessons for chapter 1 with us. But the biggest thing that is sort of like a big question really for me is, how have you actually survived for 20 years as an entrepreneur in Nigeria? Because listening to you, right, and not only just listening to you, knowing what I know about the environment, how have you survived for 20 years and keep going strong?
So first thing I tell everybody is, don't believe the bad hype. What do I mean by that? There's a popular story. Well, maybe not too popular. There was a guy, two salesmen. They were sent to this island where people don't have shoes. So the first guy gets there and he's like, nobody's wearing shoes in this place. How the heck am I going to even sell shoe concept to them? Why would they even listen to me about shoes? And he spent all his time complaining about why it would be difficult to sell shoes. Okay. The other guy got off the same boat, went to the other end of the island, and thought, wow, nobody's wearing shoes. And he sent a mail back to the head office, send me a whole shipload of shoes.
You can imagine, yes.
Same scenario.
Yeah.
Two different perspectives. Now, the thing with Nigeria is a basket of opportunities.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like prospecting for gold. You're under huge rocks. Yeah. You've got to be ready to drill. And you've got to be ready to be patient. Now, one of the things that happens in Nigeria is that because there's so many opportunities, when people try to drill, some people find success early, and then they're so tired, they're like, wow, I've done enough. Let me just take what I've done and move on. Other people look at the same thing and say, okay, if I could succeed at this level, let me double down. Let me reinvest. Let me put it all back in and go for broke. Now, I happen to be in that school of thought that believe in doubling down.
Okay.
When you double down in a place like Nigeria, it's a gamble. So it's high risk, like I said.
Huge.
It's a high risk game. But hey, high risk, high reward. So that's the first thing. And then by applying all these lessons we've shared together, I've also been able to find solutions, or should I use the word antidotes, for the various typical challenges you will meet in Nigeria. The one thing I will say is, and I can share this with you from now for the next 1 week. I can give you live examples. There's more money to be made in this country, right? Than there is to be made in the West.
Very true. I agree with you.
However, there's higher risk in this country than there is in the West.
Can I describe it as insane risk?
Maybe terrifying risk. But to put in perspective for you, give me $1 million. And give me $100,000. Tell me that I can take the $1 million and relocate anywhere in the world, or take the $100,000 and stay in Nigeria. Guess what I'll pick?
Option B then.
I would always pick option B, because guess what? With that $100,000, I would turn it into $1 million within 6 months.
Wow. I mean, it's got to be said, I don't think I don't, to a certain extent, I believe what you're saying, because that is the thing, is, you know, obviously the higher the risk, the higher the rewards. And Nigeria is an emerging market. And emerging markets, that's where all the opportunities are. The West is pretty much saturated at the moment, but it requires individuals like yourself with that capacity to go for broke, to leverage the
that's the word.
opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah.
To leverage.
And we're not the only ones. I mean, and you know, the only thing that I find amusing and in rounding this up is that increasingly it's the next generation, the millennials, that are taking advantage of these opportunities.
Yeah.
So most of people in our generation are jaded, they're tired, they feel they've been scarred. So they feel, oh, it's not going to work, it can't work. Yeah. But every day, I mean, earlier on today, I was having a conversation with some of my teammates. I was talking about 19-year-olds starting businesses.
Yes.
19.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys are not planning to work for anybody.
Yes.
They're working for themselves. They're starting from scratch. They're bootstrapping it. And I look at them, I'm like, wow, if I had the opportunity to be 19 all over again, things I would do.
Yes.
And you rightly said it. The West, right, is mature.
Yeah.
The growth areas are now Asia and Africa.
Yeah.
And Africa has the unique potential of having a huge youthful population, which is why COVID is not affecting us as badly as it's affecting you guys.
As much, yes, as other places,
yeah. Yeah, a huge youthful population that are exposed to Western values.
Yeah.
That are exposed to the digital way of doing things. So you can actually sit down in Scotland, Aberdeen,
yes,
and do business with a guy living in Enugu.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can't. Yeah. Unlike what it was when we were growing up, where in fact it was impossible. So there's so many opportunities. Are there dangers? Absolutely. Is it risky? Absolutely. But you know what scares me the most is the fact that I see many Nigerian-owned enterprises that tend to give up. And I see so many more foreign-owned enterprises that are still thriving.
Yes. So would we say that's because they've got the will, or actually they've got better drivers? Because obviously it's not like they're not failing, but they're failing, they're getting up and they're carrying on because they can see, look, this is a huge market.
I think it's twofold. Yeah. One is the knowledge, and two is OPM.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm speaking with you now.
Yes.
You're based out there. If I were to say to you, oh, talking about let's do business together, let's this, let's that. In your mind, you're like, what's Jide up to? Let me go and check. Let me do my due diligence. Let me this, let me that. Yeah. But instinctively, if my name was John O'Connor and my business was incorporated in the UK, and I told you I was investing in Nigeria, you instinctively feel you're safer and you'll be more willing to invest with it. It's a psychological thing.
It's a psychological
thing. I'm not putting you on the spot.
Yes.
I'm not putting you on the spot, but it's
not at all. But you're right.
And that's why you find that most of the foreign-owned businesses tend to be better able to weather the storm.
True.
Because they have better access to OPM and to access to credit than the indigenous firms. So what indigenous firms are now forced to do is you've got to, literally speaking, you've got to mimic them. You've got to figure out what they've done right and replicate it, which is what people like me, that's what we do now. So put the same structures in place so that we can go to the same source and generate the same capital. And a classic example of somebody who's done that very well is Dangote.
Yes. I mean, Dangote stands shoulders above the rest, to be fair.
Yes. Dangote has done it. Macadenuga has done it.
Yes.
The boy, and let's not talk about the old men. Those are old men. The boys who did Flutterwave have done it.
Okay.
The guys who started Andela have done it.
Right.
There's a company called Farm Crowd in Nigeria that's owned by young Nigerians. They're doing it. There's so many businesses that
actually, I've only just registered for that one today, but here we go.
No, seriously. I mean, there's so many Nigerian enterprises now that have now learned the value of structure.
Okay.
Which is part of what I stressed in the book. It's structure, foundation, systems. And because they have all of those things, they get a better confidence rating.
That's true. And actually, it sort of, this leads me into my final question, really, which because obviously you see this, and I guess maybe I have a feeling that it pains you at times because you see it, but a lot of people just don't see it. So what drives your conviction about Nigeria?
See, I told you that I started my career working in oil and gas.
Yeah.
And I would sit in meetings. I was early 20s, young lawyer. I'd sit in a meeting and I'd watch, and I'm not being racist.
Yes.
I'd watch white Caucasian male enter the same meeting room and get accorded privileges I don't get.
Mm.
And I'd see people with less intelligence, lower degree than mine, come into the organization and earn 5 times my pay.
Wow.
And I used to get agitated and ask myself, why? What do they have that I don't have?
Yes, that's demoralizing.
What do they know?
Yeah.
What do they know that I don't seem to know? And I made it my life quest to never, ever be in a position where people that are not as good as I am are placed above me.
Yep.
And that has been the motivator behind everything I do.
Yeah, okay.
Because part of the thing I realized is that maybe colonialism did a number on us, but we tend to have, speaking generically now, we tend to have lower levels of expectation. And people take advantage. And people take advantage of it.
Yes, yes.
Because see, the way if you have a high value of yourself and you grow yourself to that level, people won't buy you cheaply.
Very true.
But when you have a low sense of worth or a mismatch between your perception of your value, people will buy you off very cheaply.
Yes.
And that's why I find that many businesses in Nigeria are not worth up to $1 million, not worth up to $2 million, because we get easily satisfied.
Yes.
And it's the one thing for me that's like a living nightmare.
Yeah.
I tell people that as a developer, the worst thing that could possibly happen to me is that I retire and then I wake up one day and I find out that the biggest developer in Africa is some US-based company. That would pain me.
So that's what drives, well, it's fantastic. One has to have a conviction of what drives one. And that's what, and for you, it's about getting your country, because that's effectively what you're driving at, is you just want that country to be better in every respect, in every way.
We have no reason to not, look, Nigeria is the biggest, most populous Black nation in the world.
Yeah.
We have one of the youngest population of any nation in the world.
Yes.
We have all the fundamentals to excel, except one, that drive not to be easily satisfied. We get too easily satisfied with mediocrity. And that is what I'm all about, that look, don't settle for less.
Yes.
I mean, if I'm rounding up, let me use this roundup for you.
Yeah.
If you look at telecoms in Nigeria, we had a state-owned entity called NITEL.
Yes.
Then from there, we tried to create indigenous telecom companies. And we created a number of them, Intercellular, Starcoms, and the rest. And when in 1999, the government decided they were going to launch the GSM era, those guys also have been the ones to transform and scale up.
That's true.
None of them did. None of them did.
It was all foreign companies.
It was all foreign companies. A Zimbabwean company, a South African company. The only one that was indigenous was Globacom.
Yes.
And that for me is a nightmare scenario. The why we've got to begin to aspire for much more than just personal satisfaction.
Yes.
And that's what motivates me.
That's
because when you aspire for more than just personal well-being, you get to achieve great things.
That's true. That's true. But it does take a great person to want to see that. So I mean, it's and you've got to be very bullish. It's a complete faith in your country, even though you can't see all of it as it is now. Well, you just know that it will come together. And you've identified, in your case, what you believe is the most important element of driving the people, especially driving the millennials, driving the people coming on, to be able to have pride in what they do. Don't be satisfied. Don't settle for less. Don't settle for little things and just count yourself lucky. So we've got to eradicate that potential, because you are right in every way, which is, I guess, what makes Nigeria a puzzle, and maybe Africa in the bigger context of it, a puzzle to a lot of people, because we've got everything. You've got natural resources, you've got the young population, so you've got all resources, but why can't we just make it work? And I think I like the simplicity of what you've said, which is it's about your desire to be the best. If you desire to be the best, you're going to do everything to get there. So, it's been really, really brilliant. And there's actually one saying that I picked out in your chapter 1, and I thought you could, because you put it there, is it sort of sums up the essence of you, which is about right opportunities in the right place at the right time equals profit. And we can interpret profit to be satisfaction, success. So that
at the end of the day, like you rightly said, I think if I'm going to drop one word, is don't be satisfied easily. Don't aspire. I tell people the best thing you can do to yourself is, at the end of a long day, you get home empty. And not bad empty, not depressed empty. You get empty because you get home and you realize, today I dropped it all. I gave it my best.
Good empty. You've actually, everything empty. You took out of yourself, you gave it in that capacity.
Now, when we all begin to live that way, we truly excel. Because that's the only reason why the English kingdom, the British kingdom, left their small island and terrorized the rest of the world.
I'm not sure terrorize and
that's the only reason.
But
they were not satisfied.
They weren't satisfied. They needed more.
We have to become that hungry. And not be satisfied with average. And step out of a comfort zone and just go out and make an impact.
It's actually really been brilliant. And in all honesty, I discovered, it's all about perspectives and it's all about perceptions. The McDonald's one and the KFC one, that is still ringing a bell in my head now. Honestly, until you put it that way, I would not have thought, actually, they're not in the business of food. It's this business and they've located it, and hence why people keep coming back for more. So, Mr. Odusolu, it's been absolutely brilliant spending this hour with you. I've learned so much, and I do have to say, if I'm to summarize it, the fact is, don't settle for less, which is the message that you keep driving home to the people you mentor, to the people you coach, to the people around you. And I'm so glad that you've got a huge reach in terms of the people that you can influence. So it's fantastic. So I know quite a lot of generations, quite a lot of the next generation will come through, and hopefully you'll see your dream fulfilled in them, in terms of being up there and succeeding. So it's an absolutely brilliant topic. It's a brilliant interview. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you very, very much.